so to close our cockpit up, we have a latch here to keep this cuddy door solid, and we just simply push down on that latch. Fold this door, it's a bifold door, close it in. We want to make sure that this isn't locked from the inside, because you can lock the inside, so therefore it doesn't, somebody can't visit you during the night if you don't want to. And then this just simply flips over. This is all gasketed, so it should be fairly watertight, although it would be pretty hard to get rain into the hard top unless for some reason you left the windows open. So to open, just push down, double fold. This kicks up on a gas spring. To open this door, it's just a bifold. Bring it over until it locks firmly into place. Flip down drink holder. There's one for the passenger and one for the driver. These are stainless. This again, this kind of acts like your glove box. So we've got the bilge plug stuffed in there and the owner's manuals for the engine. There is a big pouch, black umbrella pouch, that has all the manuals from Campion in this boat. Be advised though that the owner's manual for the boat is not specific. You get the same owner's manual regardless which model boat you buy. So if you have a question specifically about your boat, unfortunately it's not going to answer it. That is something that I think the company is going to work on in the next few years and get right. So let's move into the helm station here. I'm just going to move this door to ease in our explanation. So we've got sliding hard top windows. So literally you can just push and pull. You squeeze this bracket, slide it back. It's pretty simple, straightforward kind of thing. On our dash, this boat is equipped with some analog gauges. So we have a speedometer, so an analog speedo. We have a tachometer with an hour meter. This is Evinrude equipped boat, so it has an Evinrude system check gauge. It has a trim gauge, a voltmeter, and of course, all importantly, the gas gauge. Down to the right here, we have our cockpit switches. So horn, bilge pump. So the bilge pump is automatic as well, but if you do want to override it, you can just flick it on. We have the second bilge pump, which will be the one in the cuddy. Again, you turn that one on and off, but it is also automatic. We also have your forward bilge pump. So you have 3 pumps, okay? So these are your 3 pumps. You got to have a lot of rain or a heck of a lot of water get in this boat before you're going to need all 3. We have our cockpit lights. So what that does is turn these little LED lights on and light up the cockpit area. It's not that bright right now because we're out inside. We also have our overhead lights. So our overhead lights can either be clear, or if we're running at night and we don't want the glare, we flick the switch down and it's red. So then there's no glare. Next switch here is our windlass. So it's our anchor out in the front. When we want to bail it out, we just simply push the upper button. When we want to retrieve it, we push the down button, or vice versa, pardon me. Trim tab switch is here. Now these trim tabs automatically park every time the key is turned back off. So they'll go all the way up so you don't have to worry about taking down your trim tabs. If you've never operated trim tabs before, there's lots of videos on them, but the long and story short of a trim tab is to level the boat out. If you got all the weight on one side, you tab down on the other. Over here we have our nav and anchor lights. So if I just flip this switch up, that'll just light our stern light. If I flip them both up, that'll light our bow lights, our dash, and our stern light. This is a panel dimmer. One thing that's nice about Campion is they allow you to dim your panel lights. And the beautiful thing about that is they're not just sitting there glaring in the glass at night. We've got our starboard wiper and our port wiper. So those are our wiper controls. This boat has a VHF radio, microphone here, 12-volt accessory outlet. So this would be our main engine. Every time we turn the key on, this little light's gonna, or this gauge is gonna light up. And you would have heard the tabs. You can see the tab indicators lit up. When I shut it off, you'll hear the tabs retract. So when the key's on, you're going to notice lights, warning lights go on. We've got oil, we've got check engine, we've got temp, and we got no oil. So you're screaming along down the lake and the low oil light comes on. This is an Evinrude G2, so you take top cover off, add some oil. Check engine light is a code that the engine wants to let you know something's going on with it. If you do get a check engine light, the engine will go into limp mode, won't rev over 3,200 RPM or 35. Just simply throttle back into neutral. If you can, safely shut it off, restart it, If the code goes away, it will still log it. We can check into it later. If the problem remains, it'll remain on. You've got water, and what that is, water temperature. So if the engine's getting hot, the engine again will go into Guardian mode, so 3,500 RPM. Cool thing about Evinrude is it'll let you drive till it gets to a critical heat. When it hits the critical heat, it'll shut off. Once it cools down, you can start up and go again. So it's pretty hard to wreck this engine. No oil. These run on XD100. You have up to 8 hours no oil run time. So if you had no oil, you wouldn't be able to run over 3,000 RPM, but you'd still get home. So this is the key center. This has a separate kill cord. It's a 3-prong device. Slides up underneath this switch and pushes the center button. Without that, it's not going to start. This should be tethered to you in case you fall out of your seat. On this side here, again, 12-volt accessory outlet. This is our main engine. So this is equivalent with a 250 high output. So this is our binnacle control for the 250 high output. This is one of our electronic controls. The detente in it is very, very soft. So if you can't, for some reason, start the engine, or the engine will not throttle, make sure you started it in neutral and not in gear, because if you started it in gear, it literally will just idle and it will not shift. Trim switch here on the handle. This is your kicker key switch. So to start that 15 HO, you're simply going to turn this on and crank it up. Okay? Your kicker control. This control may not look as convenient, however, most of the time if you're using it, you're just using it as a kicker. If you did need to use it as a main engine to get home, it's right there, it's handy. Again, you got a power trim and tilt switch here. So that's your kicker control. You do have a safety tether cord for the kicker, however, you don't have to have it in to make it work. Okay? So that's the little bit of a rundown on the dash. You've got your steering, of course. Nice footrest there. Your seat will swivel as well as slide fore and aft. Passenger side, we have our kicker stereo. So we've got a button that says music here, and the stereo will come on. And you can just study your owner's manual and go through all the settings. It'll Bluetooth to your phone. It'll do a whole bunch of different things. It's a nice little unit. It's a Kicker KMC 20. So again, you can review the owner's manual for the operation of that.